We're on the top of Tzadi Aleph Amid Aleph. 5 lines from the top. The Be'er Yishmael Tana. Kavachayim Mikli Schuches. This is right. It's another answer that the daughter of the Caesar, had given to his question that he asked. How could someone that went back to dust? How can he be revived? So she said, "Kavachayim Mikli Schuches. Ma Kli Schuches she'amalam beruach basav adam. Nishbaru yesh len takana." A glass vessel that is blown up. They used to blow glass, right? You blow into a long thing and that would blow up the glass bowl. If it breaks, it could be fixed. Certainly a person which has, instead of a human's ruach, it has the Rebbeinu Shalom's ruach in him. He certainly is fixable. On the top of Tzadi Aleph Amid Aleph, about 10 lines in the top. Amalehu mina l'Ravami. Amrisu de Shichri Chai. You said this Min said to Ravami, you say that those who are dead will live again. Vahavi Afra, they are made of their dust. Afra Mikachai, can Afra be made to live? I'm going to give you a mashal. He instructed his servants to build him a palace in a place there was no water or clay. They built it for him and it fell down. It fell down. He said, go ahead and build it with a place. They built it without clay and water, so there was no bricks, there was no mortar, so it fell down. So he said, okay, now I want you to build it in a place where we have all the building supplies. They said, we're not able to. He got angry at them. You were able to build before in a place where there was no supplies. Now that I'm giving you the supplies, certainly you can build. So he said, so you're saying basically to him, you're saying that Rebbeinu Shalom can't be Mechayim Mesim from Offer, but he created them in the first place. There already is the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world from nothing, ex nihilo. And so certainly from a person, from his dust, he can be created, he can be brought back to life. And if you don't believe there's such a thing as something that was dust becoming alive, say Levika, go out into the valley, well, look at the rodents. We're on Tzadi Aleph Amid Aleph, 2 lines before the end of the narrow lines. There's a certain rodent that was half made of basar and half was earth. Lamacha hitchus v'nasa kule basar. And the next day, it's going to be entirely basar. So you see that something that is offer can become basar. So there's nothing stopping the Rebbeinu Shalom from taking the dust that people have returned to and reviving them. Shema Toimel is Mamaruba Allah. Shema Toimel is Mamaruba. If you'll say that maybe it takes a long time for that to happen. Alei Lahar, go on top of the mountain. There's only one chilazon. I think chilazon is like the worm that was used to make chelas. You come back tomorrow and it rains, they're gonna all increase. There's gonna be a bunch of chilazons. So that happens immediately. So your life can be created instantaneously. A min, one of the defiers, said to Gavia ben Psisa, he was a regular person. I gewalt on you that you are mechoyev, that you're going to be guilty. You're saying something wrong. You say that those who are dead can live. Psisa, this Gavia and Psisa was a yid. So he said, how could you believe in Tchias HaMesim? The Chayim Mesi, the Mesi Chayim. Those that are alive die, and those that are dead will live. He said, if someone that's already alive is going to die, how could someone that's already dead, how could he live? If everything, I think he was making an argument based on entropy, right? That everything eventually dies. So how can you say that since the tendency of everything is to die, that something that's dead will live, that's going backwards? Amar Le, he said back then, no, you're the one who's mechuyev. Tamrisin meisi lechayin, you're saying that those who are dead will not live. Meisi, Damrin Mason lechayin, the loy havichaya, the havichaya lekol shekain. Those that were not alive become alive, right? People are born. Those that were already alive once, certainly they can become alive. Amalei chayvik karisli. He said, this guy, this min, said back to the yid, "You calling me a chayev? Ikamina beitna b'cha upashitna lakum masecha minach." He said, if I was near you, I would come and give you a kick, and I would straighten out your bent back. You'd be considered a great doctor that you could straighten out my bent back with a kick, and you'd get a lot of money. You'd be well paid. I don't know. Do you have any comment on this, Menachem? Is this the way the medical system works? I don't know. I'm not sure what the point of that is.
Back surgery these days isn't any more skilled or finesseful. It's
right. It's not the success rate is not any higher than giving a swift kick. Yeah. You know, the sidebar is that I've had a lot of back pain for like the last few months, and I'm terrified to go to anyone because I just don't have any trust. Many people end up worse off than they started. Taner Rabban, Ba'asem v'arba b'Nisan, it's Natilu Dimusnai miYehuda. On the 24th of Nisan, it's talking about, this is in the what is it called? The Megillus. They had a few different Tanesim that were, or Yemei Simcha, small Yom Tovim, that what they would make. And this was one of them. This is on the day that the Musnai, the certain Goyim, were kicked out of Yehuda, out of Eretz Yisrael, from Yisraelim. Kshebo b'nei Africa loden im Yisrael l'fnei Alexandros Mukdain. They went to Alexander, the Macedonian, to say that these Africans said that we have a right to Eretz Yisrael. Amulay Eretz Canaan shalonuhi. We have a right to Eretz Canaan. D'chsev Eretz Canaan l'gvoiseh, that the Yidden were given Eretz Canaan for their boundaries. U'Canaan avu and dahanu inshihava. And these Africans were the descendants of Canaan. Amul Gviya ben Psisa lecham. Gviya ben Psisa said to Lecham, Knuli rishus ve'elach ve'edin imon. Let me go and argue in front of Lefnei Alexandra Muktan. Let me be the one to argue on behalf of the Yidden. Amru nitzachtem. He said, listen, I'm just a regular guy. If I go and argue on behalf of the Yidden and they win, you could just say, oh, this is a dope who is arguing for us, so he has no standing. So we don't have anything to lose. Let me be the first one to argue. I don't have to get credit. You could just say that the Torah won. So he went and they gave him Rishus to go argue. He went to argue with the Africans in front of Alexander. Where are you bringing this raya that the Canaanim were the original owners of the land? It's very negaya these days. They said, the Torah says that the Yidden came into Canaan, so that means the Canaanim were there first. I'm also going to bring you a raya from the Torah. It says by Noach that Canaan was said that they're going to be a Eved to his brothers, to Shem and Chum. Eved shekon nechasim, Eved lami u'nechasim lami. When an Eved did get something, who does it belong to? The Eved belongs to his master, and whatever he acquires also belongs to his master. So therefore, you're saying that you own the Eretz Yisrael, but you were supposed to be avadim to the Yidden. So whatever you own really belonged to your brothers, to the descendants of Shem. He said, like he started to stick in the knife and twist it. These many years that you, Canaan, you did not serve us as slaves. You have to pay us back for that. So Alexander said, he has a good taina. What's your answer? Give us 3 days to think about it. That's what the Africans said. Noslam Zman, he gave them the 3 days. Badku v'lo matzu tshuva. They weren't able to find an answer. Miyad barchu. They ran away. They didn't. The emissaries from Africa ran away. They didn't. They abandoned their argument. V'nichu, so they're saying kshein zroyes u'kamein kshein netuyos. They had lands in Eretz Yisrael and they abandoned them as well. And they left them. The sadis were full of wheat and their vineyards were full of grapes. Happened to be Shvius, and that was the way the Yidden were supplied with what to eat, because they were able to inherit these fields that the African farmers abandoned. The Mitzrayim came to argue in front of Alexander. It says by the Yitzias Mitzrayim that Hashem gave, that He made the Yidden acceptable in the eyes of Mitzrayim, v'yeshilim, and they lent them their belongings, and then they left b'chipaz, and they told them to leave, and they said, you could keep all our treasure. So the Mitzrayim said, pay us back all the stuff that you borrowed before you left Mitzrayim. Imam. He said the same argument like he said before. You have nothing to lose by having me argue on my hedjit. If we lose, you could blame it on me. And if I win, it's because of the Torah. So he went, so he said to the Mitzrayim, what's your raya that you are owed money because the Yidden borrowed from you before Yetzias Mitzrayim? It's from the Torah. I'm also going to bring you right from the Torah. They were Avadim Mitzrayim for 430 years. You owe us for all our work that we did for 430 years with 600,000 people, which equals, $42 quadrillion. Amalohen Alexandrus Muktan Hechzir Tshuva. He said, they have a good taina. What's your answer, Mitzrayim? Amaloi Tunol Zman. Shlosh Yom, give us 3 days. Naslam Zman. Batkul Matzu Tshuva. Miyad Nichas is saying Kshein Zrois Karmein Kshein Tuyas Baruchu. Vayzu Shana Shvias Ha'isa V'Shuv. Yeah. So it was the same story that they ran away and they left their sadis that were laden with grain and wine. And they were, and then the Yidden took it, and it happened to be a year of Shvius when they were short of food, and that's how they supplied food. The sons of Yishmael and the sons of Keturah that Avram married Keturah later, even though Rashi says it was Hagar, so it was the other children of Hagar. Ladan and Yisrael of Alexandrus Muktan. They came to argue. We should be partners in it. Ela told us Yishmael ben Avram. Ela told us Yitzchak ben Avram. Yishmael was the son of Avram, and Yitzchak was. Amalan Gvia ben Psia lacham tumli rishus ve'elachadani moim lefnei Alexandra muktim yinatzchani amei had yishbanu netavim v'ani anatzei chayzim amalahem Torah Moshe Rabbeinu tatzim nasun le'rishus halach v'dani moim amalahem ve'echanat mevi and raya amalahem min ha'Torah amalahem afani le'evi raya el min ha'Torah. The same old story like we had by the Mitzrayim and like we had by the Africans. He said he asked the Chacham to let him argue because even if he loses, he's just a hedjit, and then he could blame it on him. And they gave him rishus, and he said, "Where did you get your raya from?" They said, "From the Torah." He said, "I'm also going to bring your raya from the Torah." Shenemar v'iten Avram es kol asher lo liyitzchak ulubnei hapilakshem asher Avram nosan Avram matanis. Avram gave everything that he had to Yitzchak and to the sons of the Pilakshim, which is Hagar, meaning Yishmael and her other children. Nosan Avram matanis. He gave them matanis. Av shenosan agtin lebana b'chaye v'shigir zeh me'al zeh klum yish zeh al zeh klum. He said to them, when the father gives, while he's alive, and he tries to give, he gives everything to one son. Does the other son have any taina? Obviously not. You don't have you can't say you're a Yerush if the father decided to give everything. He's so insistent that it go to one son that he gives it while he's alive. You can have no claims. Zok Gemara, my matanis. What were the matanis that the Bnei Yishmael got? Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabba Melamed Shemas Lahem Shem Tumah. He gave them a shem tumah. He gave them the ability to do kishuf, to use shemus to accomplish things. Amar le Antoninus Lerebi. Guf uneshama yecholim lifter atzam min adin. We're gonna have a bunch of Antoninus I think it was supposedly Mark Antony, right? I think that's who it was. It was one of the Roman emperors, and he had many discussions with Rebbe about philosophical inyanim. This is his first question. He said to Rebbe, how does the Rebbe Shalom ever convict anyone, cause anyone to be mechuyev for the averis they do? But the guf and the neshama of a person have a good argument. They could always pat themselves from being blamed. Ketzad, what do they do? Guf almen neshama chatasa. The guf will say that the neshama is the one that causes me to do chet. The kever. When the neshama goes away from the body has no ability to do anything. It sits in the grave. When a person dies and the neshama leaves him, his guf doesn't do anything. When neshama guf chatash the neshama says, I leave the body and I don't have any ability to do anything on the world. So it's the guf that did the oven. So Rebbe answered him, I'll give you a mashal to answer. A melech basav who had a beautiful orchard. He had beautiful figs in it, beautiful new figs. He appointed two watchers. One was lame and one was blind. So neither of them, he said to one another, the blind person said, the lame person said, I can see that there are delicious figs. Go pick me up and I'll direct you to where I can't get there myself, but you'll pick me up and then we'll go together and we'll get the figs. They went and that's what they did. They ate the king's figs. The Yamba Bal Pardis, the owner came, what happened to the figs? The lame person said, there's no way I could have gotten them out. I can't walk. I can't see. So what did the owner do? He put the blind person on top of the lame person on top of the blind person. He judged them as one. Maybe the Shama of Zerekas beguf the Rebbe Shalom puts the guf together with the neshama in order to be done them. Shenema yikra l'shamayim me'aval eretz l'din ama yikara. The Rebbe Shalom will call to the shamayim on top al eretz l'din imay to l'din imay yikra al hashamayim al zu neshama al eretz l'din imay zeh haguf. The Rebbe Shalom is done both the neshama and the guf together. Why does the sun rise in the east and go down in the west? He said, what's your question? You asked us if I would have been risen in the west, you'd ask me the same question. What do you care? What difference does it make? What's your question? I was asking a different question. He said, why does it have to rise and why does it have to set in the west? Why doesn't it go back to where it came from every night? It should go rise in the east and set in the east. Everything always stays in its same place. Why is it going all the way across? It's in order to give to say hello to when the Rosh Shalom is there in the morning to give shalom to him. The constellations in the sky will bow down to the Rebbeinu Shalom. So it means to say is the Rebbeinu Shalom is in the Ma'ariv, right? We all with the Kodesh HaKadoshim is in the west part of the Beis HaMikdash. So that's where the Rebbeinu Shalom is. So the sun goes up to the midday, and then it bows down. It descends down to be mishtachava to the Rebbeinu Shalom, so to speak. Why does the sun have to keep going down? Why doesn't it go to the height and then it bows down there and it goes? Why does it have to descend down all the way to the west? The reason why the sun doesn't immediately stop from when it gets to the middle of the day and once it's bowed down and said good night to the Rebbeinu Shalom, is because the people who are working and the people who are traveling, they need to get a heads up that the day is ending. So if it would just get the sun would rise higher and higher and then all of a sudden disappear, they wouldn't have time. They wouldn't have like a built-in alarm clock to tell them it's time to finish up. But since the sun slowly descends, it gets darker and darker. That's helpful for them. From what point is the neshama put into a person? Shas Pekida? Is it from Shas Pekida, which Rashi explains to mean? What is Shas Pekida? It means from the time that the Rebbe Shalom makes the decision of who should be who. Rashi says right on the right side, Pekida, Mishash HaMalach Poiket HaTipa Mevil Lefnei HaMakom. From the time that the Malach brings the original tipa, the drop from which a baby is created, and he brings it in front of the Rebbe Shalom, Matahei Aleh, and what's going to be with it? And it says, is that the point that it begets a neshama? Or is it from Shas Yitzira? That means when it's, Rashi says, when it gets all the, when it becomes, Rashi says it gets the basar and gidin and atzamas, it gets all the different components of a body. Amalei Mishas Yitzira. He said it's from the latter part, when the conception is, it's not from conception, it's not from when the Rebbe Shalom is geyser, but from when the baby is actually formed. Amalei Efshech Hatikach Shabaso Emedesh Shloishi Yom B'lei Melech Ve'enem Esrachas. He said the piece of meat that you leave out gets rotten. So once there's a neshama in this fetus, how is I'm saying no? If there's no neshama in the fetus until it's fully formed, how doesn't it get ruined? The neshama is what keeps it going. It makes it into a person. Without being a person, it should get rotten. Ela mishas pekida. So it must be from Shas Pekida. I'm a Rabbi Davaz Alamdeni Antoninus. Antoninus taught me this, and he's right that it really is. It must be from Shas Pekida from the beginning. Mikra Messiah, and there's a pasuk that proves it. Shneimar U'Tasecha Shamra Ruchi, from the Shas of Pekida, from the time of creation. Shamra Ruchi, the ruach is already in it. When is the Yetzer Hara put into a person? Mishas Yetzira? Is it from the time that he's created? Or is it from the time that he leaves the womb? He said from the beginning. As soon as he's a guf, there's a Yetzer Hara. Once he has a Yetzer Hara, he's going to want the Vlad would want to go out immediately. And we know that the Vlad stays in the mother for 9 months. Ela mishas yitzir. It must be from the time that it comes out. Amar Rabbi Davaz Alam Tatani and Pninis or Mikra Messiah. There's a pasuk that he's right, and there's a pasuk that shows that he's right. Shenema lepesach chatas roivitz. At the entrance, meaning at the entrance to the womb, the chatas roivitz, the sin is waiting. This is by Cain. So as soon as the Vlad comes out, when he comes out of the Pesach, when he leaves the mother, that's when the Yetzer Hara is waiting for him, but not before that. Rish Lakish Rami Ksiv Bam Iver Upiseach. Amongst them is the lame and the missing an arm. Hara, the woman who is expecting, the Yeledes, and the woman who gave birth, Yachtav. They're all together. This is talking about when the Rebbe Shalom is going to bring the Yidden, going to bring everyone together. Lachar Sayamim. Uksiv Oz Yidalad Ka'ayel Pesach. Hold on, did I say that? Oz Yidalad Ka'ayel Piseach. Am I reading it? Yeah. Oz Yidla Ka'ayel. He's going to jump like an ayel, like an antelope. Piseach, the one who's lame. V'taren, and he's going to V'taren Lashon Elaim, and the tongue of the mute person will be healed. Kinivku b'midbar mayim v'nechalim ba'arava, because the well springs of water will open up. Haketzad. So how could it be? And the first thing was saying that everyone is going to be by Tchias HaMesim, they're all going to be still with their original ailments, and then it says that they're all going to be healed. So Haketzad. They're going to talk to the B'tchias HaMesim. They'll have their movement, and after that, they're going to be misrapa from these well springs. Ula Rami Ksiv, Bila HaMavas LaNetzach, the Mavas, in the Achros Hayamim, the Mavis is going to be swallowed up. It's going to be concealed. There won't be any more death. U'macha Hashem dima me'al kol panim, and the Baruch Shem will erase tears from everyone's faces. Uksiv. And additionally, it says, Ki anar ben me'ah shana yamus, v'lo yeh misham oivel yamim. A child, someone who's going to be a nar, will be 100 years old. If he dies at 100 years old, he'll be considered a nar. That means people live extremely long lives in Achros Hayamim, and there's not going to be anyone who's going to be considered a young. No one's going to be considered young because everyone's going to live for such a long time. So the Gemara is asking, how could it be? How could it be that we said that we're going to balash hamavas lanetzach, that mavis is going to be banished, and we're saying that no, people are going to live extremely long lives. That's not banishment. So Gemara, lo kasha kam be Yisrael, kam by Avdei Chavim. By the Yisrael taka, there's not going to be any misa. By Avdei Chavim, there will. So Gemara, Avdei Chavim, my ba'u hasam. What is Avdei Chavim doing in lachat chiyas hamesim, in the Olam Haba? So Gemara, hanu dechsibu v'amdu zarim u'ru'u tzeinchem u'bnei necha achrichem v'karmerchem. The zarim, meaning the goyim, are going to watch your sheep, and they're going to be they're going to take care of your fields, and they're going to take care of your krumim, of your vineyards. So they're going to be there to be as workers. R'chiz the Rami, ksiv, v'chafra halavana u'boisha hachama, ki melech Hashem tzvakos. Says the Levana and the Chama are going to be embarrassed in front of Hashem. That means that the sun and the moon are going to both be diminished in Olam Haba, in Osid Lavi. Uksev haya ar halavana ka'ar Chama. The ar halavana will be increased to be similar to the ar of the sun. Ar Chama yesh vasayim ka'ar shivasayamim. And the ar of the Chama is going to be 7 times the R of the 7 days of Yemei Bereshis. So the first we say that it's going to be diminished, and then we say that it's going to be greater. There's 2 different phases. First is the Mois HaMashiach, after the Rebbeinu Shalom does Tchias HaMesim. There's going to be a time of the Mashiach. But then afterwards it's going to be Olam Haba, which is going to be a higher level. So at the beginning, by Yom Mashiach, the sun's going to shine even brighter. But then in the end, the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to take over everything. It's going to be a much more spiritual world, and then the lights will go out. According to Shmuel, that says that B'mais HaMashiach, that first phase, he says that nothing's going to change except for that there's going to be a Milchama, and the Shibud Galius is going to be over. So why are we saying that the sun and the moon are going to shine brighter? Like Kasha, he'll say it's Taka talking about B'shas Olam Haba, but by the tzaddikim, it's going to be very light. By the Machne Shechina, there's not going to be need for any light at all. The Rebbeinu Shalom is going to be so bright, his light is going to be so present that there won't be a need for the sun and the moon. Rav Rami, Ksiv ani amis v'achaya. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, I will cause to die, and I will cause to live. Ksiv machatzti v'ani arapa. So it says amis v'achaya. It says that the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to cause people to be brought back from the dead. And then it says, and it says that the Rebbeinu Shalom says, I cause them to have different wounds, and I'm going to heal them. So it's but that sounds like that they're not going to be brought back the way they were. It sounds like they're going to be healed. It's like we said before, that he's going to first bring them back the way they were, and then afterwards he's going to heal them. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, I'm going to cause people to die, and then I'm going to revive them. Maybe it means just the Kederach Sha'olam Noig. Maybe it just means that the Rebbeinu Shalom causes people die and people are born. That's the normal way of life, that the one person dies and another person is born. He says that I'm going to cause them to get sick and I'm also going to heal them. Just like the person who gets sick is the one who gets a refuah. It's talking about the same person that he's revived. We can't show a lie. This is a raya that there is tchias hamesim. Tanya, Amar Mei, minayin l'tchias hamesim in Torah. What do you see? Tchias hamesim shema oz Yasher Moshe bnei Yisrael shir azos. Oz Yasher, so will Moshe and bnei Yisrael sing the shir Hashem. Sarloi Nemer, it doesn't say that they sang. Eli Yasher, they will sing. We can't l'tchias hamesim in Torah. It means Moshe and bnei Yisrael themselves will sing again. Kietu davato ema oz yivni Yeshua mizbeach Hashem. Yeshua will build a mizbeach. Banalei Nemer Eli Yivna, he will build. Mikan l'tchias hamesim in Torah. El Miyata oz Yivna Shloima Bama l'Kamish Shakotzmayev. It says that Shloima will build a bama to this Kamish Shakotzmayev, this Avodah Zarah of Mayev. That when Shloima got old, he brought he had his wives who relapsed into the Chayzer B'Sheila, into Avodah Zarah, and the Rebbe Shalom was criticizing Shloima and saying he's going to build bamas. Hachanami diyivne doesn't mean that Shloima will eventually build bamas. Doesn't mean that in the future. Elamala v'kasav ki'ilu bana. The Gemara says over there, use the lashon of yivne, that he will build, not because he didn't actually build them, but it's because he didn't clamp down on his wives or be Avodah Zarah. He was treated as if he built them. What do you see? What Shenema? Elamala I'm sorry. We say every day. It says, "Blessed are those who sit in the houses." They will continue to be mahal the Rasham. It doesn't say that they did bench the Rasham. Praise the Rasham. They will praise. It means in the future they will praise. Whoever says Shira in this world, continue saying it. Means that will always, in the next world, they're going to continue to say Shira. What do you see? Shenema kol tzefecha nasu, the coil of your visions are you're going to say kol yachtav yiranenu. They're going to all sing together. It doesn't say they sang. They will sing. We can't tchias hamesim min haTorah. All the Nevi'im will sing together. Those who have visions, meaning the Nevi'im, nasu koil yachtav. They're going to raise their voices together, Yeranu, and they're going to sing. Whoever doesn't teach his Talmud, it's as if he's cheating him out of his Yerusha. The Torah was taught to us by Moshe. Merashi Gilas Yaakov. It's Yerusha for Klal Yisrael. Merashi L'chol Yisrael Misheshi Mei Bereshis. Merasha, it's Merasha from Yimei Bereshis that we say Bereshis. We dash and Rashi over there says Bereshis Behei. That the Reshis is the Torah is called Reshis Darkoi, so that's a reference to the Torah. Amar Rav Chanva Bizna, Amar Reb Shimon Chasida, Kol Haminei Halacha Mi Talmud. Whoever doesn't teach his Talmud, Afilu Oivrin Shebemei Imay Mekalin. I say, even the fetus in the mother's stomach curses him. Shenamar Maineya Bar Yikavu La'im. The one who keeps him from bar, we're gonna say what the pasuk is the Gemara is gonna say what all these words mean. But Maineya Bar in this context we're gonna understand to mean who keeps him from learning. Yikvo is going to curse La'im, the Uber. The Ein La'im Ela Uvrim. The last word La'im is referring to Uber Shenam La'im La'im Yamas. It says by Esav and Yaakov that they're going to the different civilizations are going to, one will vanquish the other, but it's referring to the two while they were still b'meya in their mother's stomach. The Ein Kava Ela Klala. The lashon Yikavuhu is a lashon of Klala. It says by Bilam, he says, what can I curse that the Rebbe Shalom is not willing to curse? The Ein Bar Ela Torah. The lashon Bar is Torah. Shneimar Noshku Bar Pen Yinaf. you should grab on to bar. Pen it's that the Rebbeinu Shalom should get angry, and with the nashku bar, it really means that we should grab on to the Torah. We're going to go for another 4 minutes, if that's okay, and then we'll continue, hopefully tonight or tomorrow. Someone who refuses to teach, he gets pierced like a sieve with a lot of holes. Like we said, we quoted that pasuk. They made holes in the door. They pierced it with spears. Like the I think it's also a kind of sieve that a cleaner uses when they wring out the water from the clothing. If someone teaches Torah, what is the schar? He gets a brachas like Yosef. A bracha goes to the head of the masbir. Masbir ali Yosef. Masbir is Yosef. Shenemar Yosef who hashalat al aretz. He was the ruler of the land. Who masbir l'chol am aretz. He's the one who provided to the kol am aretz. Amar of Sheshes. Whoever will teach Torah in this world will be zeicha to teach it in Olam Haba. Shenemar umar vegam hu yoira, and he will also be yoira. Yoira is a lashon of hayra that he teaches. I mean, it's a drasha that says amar vegam hu yoira. It says the one who filled himself, he will also fill others. So the one who fills others, he himself will be filled. But it means that someone who teaches Torah will himself. He will be Yaira Lailam Haba. Amar Rava. Minayin l'tchiz hamesim in Torah. Where do we see tchiz hamesim? Never Yechi Ruven al Yamas. Yechi Ruven b'Olam Hazeh b'al Yamas Lailam Haba. Says about Ruven. He will live in this world and he will not die in Olam Haba. We know Meri Hachav. Ram miyashne Adama Offer Yakitzu. Eil l'chayim Haba. Ve'eil l'charpas ladrin. The many of those who rest in the ground, they will wake up. Some will go la'olam l'chay olam, and other will go to embarrassment, the charpas ladrin, olam. Vashi amamehachav ata lecha lekates tenuach v'tamid legoyer lecha. Get up. You should go rest, and you stand up to get your goyrel, to get your what you deserve. Lekates hayam at the end of days, saying that after you die, you're going to still get up. Amar Rabbi Laza kol parnish shemanigas atziba benachas zeichem nehigim la'olam haba. Any leader of the Kehillah that leads them with pleasantness will be zeicha to lead them in Olam Haba. Shenemar ki merachmem yinagim. Those who lead with rachmanis, he's going to lead them to the water, to the Olam Haba, to the ultimate goal. V'amar Laza gedola deya shenitna ben shtei oisius. The deya. Okay, we'll leave deya for tomorrow. Deya is the next big chelik. Thank you very much, and